The Entrepreneurial Conundrum. It almost makes me sound like super intelligent. What in the world are you talking about, Andrew? Oh, it's this. Everybody that is the founder of a great idea, a great movement, an enterprise, an organization, a nonprofit, a business, they started because of the passion they felt toward what it was that they were creating. They were doing something that was calling them. It came naturally to them. They just felt like, if I don't do this, I can't ever face my former self without guilt and regret. It's what drives the entrepreneur. It's what comes naturally to you. It's what you do in a state of flow, and sometimes you do it, or you would do it, for free. You're an entrepreneur. You're a founder. You've created something phenomenal. People look up to you, and they are so just amazed at what it is that you've been able to do. Congratulations. You don't need it, and yet you sometimes get it. And this entrepreneurial conundrum is, most people don't see that sometimes we feel as if we have hit a ceiling of achievement. And we're banging our head against that ceiling, and it hurts. And we know that there's more on the other side of it, and that there are new limits. And most entrepreneurs are limitless in their thinking. And so when they hit this ceiling of achievement, it really does cause a lot of pain. And they wonder why. Why, when I was on this upward trajectory of growth, have I hit this place where I'm not able to continue to grow? I've been doing the same things, and yet I'm not getting the equal results of growth. Well, I have to thank my mentor, Gary Keller, for teaching this principle. He calls it being entrepreneurial. It's an entrepreneurial approach. You're doing what comes naturally. And when you only do what you've always done, you'll only get what you've always gotten. And if we want to get something that we've never gotten before, we have to do something we've never done before. And if we're going to do something we've never done before, we have to be a different person. So how do we break this cycle of being entrepreneurial? By only doing what comes naturally. Well, first of all, we have to be okay with the disappointment that comes when we hit our head on that ceiling of achievement. It does hurt, and it is disappointing. And you have to acknowledge that you're not where you hoped you would be, and that there is more on the other side of this ceiling. And if you can be okay with and accept that disappointment, then you won't fall into the next trap that often comes after this disappointment, which is resignation. Either resigning to the fact that I will never grow further, that I will never create something bigger or better that can influence more lives, that you don't fall into this place of woe is me, or even start thinking about quitting. Because when you start doing that, what you end up doing is looking for greener pastures, looking for something else. And when we look for greener pastures, what we usually end up doing is we end up hitting new ceilings of achievement, because you're not a different person. You just took your same way of thinking and being, everything that you've done, and you're now reciprocating that cycle as it continues in a new pasture. And the pasture doesn't get greener. It gets to the same level of green until you hit that ceiling of achievement again. Man, I see this time and time again with those that I coach at a high level. So what's the alternative to this entrepreneurial, natural ceiling of achievement conundrum, this entrepreneurial conundrum, as I call it? Well, we have to shift from E to P, going from being entrepreneurial to being purposeful. Being purposeful as an approach is about doing what comes unnaturally. Not that you have to be someone that goes against everything you've been before, but we just need to implement a new approach by focusing, first and foremost, bringing extreme clarity. Where there is clarity, there is power. When you have that focus, you begin to find models. You begin to find those that have done what you're about to do in the same field, or maybe they've done it in a different field. And then you can stand on the shoulders of giants that have been able to see further than you can see. And that comes from having those models, actual people, mentors, people that you can look up to. They don't just have to be living. They can be those that have gone before you. There's nothing wrong with having a dead mentor that you read about and you learn from. And not only people as models, but also models of success, organizational models. As you begin to focus on those models, you're going to be able to learn what they did and who they were. And you're going to be able to change what it was that was making it so that you kept hitting that ceiling of achievement. You're becoming purposeful as you focus on new models and then implement those models by building out systems and processes that support these new models. This takes an incredible amount of attention and awareness and focus. It takes time, and it takes new people and new approaches. And as you continue to implement these new models and these new systems and these new processes, you will have breakthroughs. But if you continue to do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always gotten. So my question is this: are you ready? Are you ready for a breakthrough in your business? Are you ready to stop banging your head up against this ceiling of achievement? Are you ready to do something different? Joseph Campbell, he who wrote The Hero's Journey, who found this beautiful theme throughout the greatest movies and stories and mythologies and religious texts, he was the one that documented this hero's journey. This is what Joseph Campbell said: "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Doing what comes unnaturally allows you to implement new models and systems and processes to break through to a new ceiling of achievement." Or you can fall into resignation, look for greener pastures, and continue to have this cycle of disappointment over and over and over again. Now, this doesn't just apply to your business. This can apply to levels of fulfillment and happiness within relationships, in families, in communities, and churches, your own health and fitness. We strive and yearn to have consistency in our life. And yet, it's also really good to have a little bit of spontaneity, to change things up. Every few years, I look at where I'm at and I feel this desire to create a new personal plan of growth for myself, because I'm not the same person today that I was yesterday or 3 years ago. And if I want to be my future self now, I have to find models of those that are doing what my future self would intend to be doing today. So you can apply this in all areas of life, and especially your business. You can go from an entrepreneurial approach, which is doing what comes naturally, to a purposeful approach, going from E to P, doing what comes unnaturally. And as you know, the longer you continue to do those things that are unnatural, they begin to feel natural. And you get into that state of flow. And you find that you really are good at something that you didn't think you were good at. And you'll find people that are even better at it than you are, and they can implement what you've created. So, if you're ready for a breakthrough and you're tired of hitting your head on that ceiling of achievement or falling into a state of resignation and going on and always moving past something that you felt compelled to create, then I invite you to number one, focus. Number two, begin to find models. Who is it that has succeeded in a way that you can succeed as well? What systems and procedures did they implement? And the cherry on top of all of this is, who will hold me accountable? Rather than asking, how am I going to do this? Who is it that can support me? The most successful athletes and business owners that I work with, and those that I don't, they all have great coaches. Having that coach makes sure that you keep the focus, that you don't fall into resignation, that you don't make stupid mistakes and go looking for greener pastures, that you are doing what you say you want to do, and you're being the person that you need to be to do those things and get the results you've never gotten before. That's what it takes. And that's what coaching is all about. If you've got questions about coaching, I would love to answer them for you. You deserve more. There is a higher level of fulfillment for you, and it goes beyond dollars in your bank account or investments in your portfolio. It's about what matters most: your life mission, the relationships, and the service that you're able to give. I would love to chat with you about that. Feel free to click on the link below if you'd like to spend some time together. And can I ask you something? Will you please, if this was valuable to you, will you like this video? Just one click. And if you want more, will you subscribe? This helps us to get the message out to more people. And I want this to go to as many as possible. We all deserve to live in a new level of freedom, new opportunities, limitless in our ability to grow. I believe in you.